Superman Unlimited #2 kind of surprised me because I love Dan Slott. Raphael Albuquerque, he's kind of hit or miss for me. Falling on the miss side for these first 2 issues. Before we dive into comics, are we excited or not excited that this month there is a new Superman movie dropping? Are we bracing for impact right now?
This month.
What is it? It's July.
Wee!
It's here.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe it. We've been doing this show since January of this year, and we are already at the over halfway point, and Superman and Fantastic Four and a whole bunch of stuff is coming out, but the main thing is Superman, of course. I cannot wait. Everything I've seen, I just it looks like this is going to be right up my alley. I cannot wait for this. Frank, are you doing anything special for Superman?
I am. I'll be going out to Cleveland, and if you're in the Cleveland area, you should check it out. We're hosting a screening. Me and my friends at the Super House of L podcast. There's gonna be a screening at the Capitol Theater on Saturday the 11th at 7 p.m. If you can, there are still a few tickets I think available. So check it out if you're in the Cleveland area or close enough to get there for Saturday. And we have Brian Michael Bendis on the books to come and join us. And hey, if you're going to be in town anyway, we'll be doing a panel at the library the next day, the 12th, with Phil Kennedy Johnson. So if that's something of interest to any of you folks,
you should also mention who's organizing this. I feel like that's also
this is all through the Siegel and Schuster Society. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. This is all to benefit the Siegel and Schuster Society. They're trying to erect a monument to Superman and the creators of Superman, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, in the city of Cleveland. That's what all this is all about, raising awareness of it and raising funds for it. So.
Perfect. And I should also tell you that I am Vactor. This is This Comic Cooks, and we've got the dulcet tones behind the Beer with Geeks, not one and only Tim Tangent. Tim, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent because I can see your two shining faces, including the pearly whites of Super Frank. How you doing, Frank?
Self-conscious about my teeth now. Good. How are you?
Excellent. And I even brought a drink for the occasion because the geeks are here. And they're talking beer. And in my attempt to be a little healthier, boys.
No.
Seltzer water.
Oh, no.
No more 0-calorie root beer, boys. I'm trying to get my super bod back. Trying to get my Superman body back.
You can get flavors, though. You know that, right?
If you could have been there with me at the grocery store today, it was this right below it was lemon lime, and I had my hand on the lemon lime, and then there was a peach above it, and I said to myself, if this has flavor, there's got to be something that's not good for me. If there's something that has flavor in it, it's obviously altering the molecular density of the water, and so it's changing it, and it's injecting the sucrose molecules into it. And I said, you know what?
So seltzers really just smell. They basically add the smell, and that's what you're tasting, right? So it's like it kind of tricks you. There is something called Spindrift, which I highly recommend. It's what I'm drinking right now.
I've seen that.
It is very little calories. Like it goes from like 2 to maybe 10, depending on the kind that you get, and it's usually just the carbonated water and then the pure squeezed juice of whatever flavor you get. But it's like 2 grams of sugar.
I need to try that.
0 grams of sugar, depending on what you're doing. I have a pink lemonade right now. It's carbonated water, cherry puree, lime juice, lemon juice, and hibiscus.
I like all of that.
Calories, 2 grams of sugar.
Okay, I've seen that logo, and I've never picked it up before. So now it is my duty. Next time I go to the grocery store, I'm going to try that Spindrift.
Spindrift's great. I also love regular seltzer. Like I like just that too, but if you're looking for something with just a slight flavor to it, then I would recommend.
What
are you drinking, Frank?
I guess I'm going to get cancer because
you're also going to meet the descendants of Siegel and Schuster, so it's a pendulum kind of life you swing.
The trade-off is worth it, man. Well, Frank's the only one that's having fun right now here on This Month in Superman. We're talking the comics that came out in June of 2025. And if you're a longtime listener of This Month in Superman, you'll know that we used to talk about every Superman comic. But you know what? We're switching it up now because I think it's better for us to hyper focus on what we really loved for the month. We have some honorable mentions. So let's just real quick tell everybody the books that came out with Superman in them: Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong #2. Wait, issue 1.
It's the sequel,
Yes.
but it's issue 1. Yeah.
Supergirl #2, that new series by Sophie Campbell. Secret Six #4, because Jonathan Kent, the son of Superman, is in it. DC X Sonic the Hedgehog, DC times Sonic, I don't know how they're pronouncing it, #4 came out. And then Tim Tangent said that I needed to read the new history of the DC universe by Mark Waid. And in the very last panel, spoiler alert, the very last shot of the comic features a rocket from Krypton. So Superman is technically in that book.
Truthfully, it would have been my issue of the month if like he was in it more than that panel. I feel like I just couldn't count it because of that. But
next month,
if you want to know what's up in the DC universe and how everything connects to each other, and you're ready to dive in that way, it's a really good book.
Yeah. And I think let's do it like this, boys. We didn't talk about this before. Let's go in chronological order when we talk about our favorite books of the month. So Frank, you're up first, then me, and then Tim Tangent. So I guess we're not going to talk about Absolute Superman #8, but that was the first book that came out this month in the first week of June. Then the next week, the one and only Super Frank picked Action Comics #1087. Frank, what did you like about this comic?
I liked a couple things. I thought it was the most sort of enjoyable sort of fun story of the handful that I read this month. I enjoyed quite a bit. I enjoyed the whole. Oh, what am I trying to say? I enjoyed Lois's whole arc.
Yes,
I've been enjoying that. I've really been enjoying both the Superman and Action titles.
Yeah.
And I feel like sort of going back and forth, as I think last month my pick was Superman. But this month in Action, I really enjoyed the sort of early stuff, the walking through his youth and that sort of different take on his upbringing. I really enjoyed. There were a couple of like little Easter eggs that I enjoyed. It looks like Downtown Smallville is at least loosely based on the Downtown Smallville from Superman and Lois, so that was fun. But there was a lot to enjoy about this. The Kents and the way that they were relating to Clark, and sort of the way they were giving him advice and when it was time to step in versus not. Yeah, there was a lot to enjoy here for me.
Yeah, man. I was really pumped about this one because Mark Waid, who's writing every book at DC right now, he's got his hands in everything, including the entire history of the DC universe, as Tangent brought up earlier. Art by Skylar Partridge. And I loved this Superboy story. And this, to me, this would have been a fantastic episode of a TV show, seeing him in Smallville, and like a new, how many takes have we gotten of Superboy, of Smallville? We're all fans of all of these things. And Mark Waid is still able to tell a fun and engaging story that it didn't feel to me like it was, this is the same old, the thing that I've seen a million times. And we've all seen it from the crib. I think we were all born with super pacifiers in our mouths, and this character has been with us since we were lifting cars off of our fathers who were changing the spare tires, and we had the cape wrapped around our willies.
We've all done it. All three.
Yes, we've all been there before. So I think that's Mark Waid's gift to me, is that he's able to have this encyclopedic brain about DC and I think Marvel as well, but just he knows these characters so well, and he's able to tell an interesting story. He's able to give us an interesting take on it. Tim Tangent, what do you think about Action this one?
I mean, I agree with all of you. It was heartfelt, Mark Waid. I think that's like, sometimes like it's like his weekly book I didn't love when every issue was coming out. I was like, okay, let's get to the point now and
Mm.
whatever. But this one felt like near and dear to him. He does really well when he boils down Superman's core values and where they come from. And it's funny because like when I was younger, I didn't care for like the Superboy idea. I liked that he just kind of goes from. I liked that he went from living in Smallville and hiding, and then starting fresh as Superman. And I guess the more engaged I am with the material, the more I enjoy Superboy. Like in some ways because it's silly,
Hmm.
and
Yes.
I'm just like I'm falling back on enjoying the sillier aspects of comics more than the deadly serious
Man.
ones.
Mm.
And so that this book really worked for me very
Yes.
much that way.
And I think I'm also in the same boat where I'm ready for silliness. And I've talked about this on my YouTube channel. The silver aginess of this new James Gunn Superman is what has me excited the most because I feel like it's going to, and we're going to have a review with the geeks talking about it, and I can't wait. But I feel like it's going to be a love letter to Superman, a love letter to comics and Silver Age comics, and the joy of, hey, look at these guys with superpowers. This is what they can do. They don't have to be gritty, grounded, real world. This is everything has to be that way. There's a time and a place for that, but
Right.
everything does not have to be like that. So I'm also ready for some silly. Yeah. Great pick, Super Frank. Great, excellent pick. Action Comics, number 1087. Mark Waid's new run on Action Comics starts off with a solar flare. So I'm going to say very good, very good. The following week, June 18th, we had Batman, Superman, World's Finest, number 40. Crypto, The Last Dog of Krypton, which I guess we could have put that in the honorable mentions instead of specifically Superman. But my pick of the week, or pick of the month, I should say, came out Superman Unlimited number 2. And this kind of surprised me because Superman Unlimited number 1 was fine. The first issue, there wasn't anything that I was like, oh man, this is amazing. I love Dan Slott. Raphael Albuquerque he's kind of hit or miss for me.
Mhm.
And I'm falling on the miss side for so far these first 2 issues. It hasn't been my favorite of his art style. And I feel like he doesn't quite fit the Superman. There's something about it that I'm just like, that feels a little off. So I'm not loving the art, but I got to say, this second issue really clicked with me as far as the story goes. And we talked about it last month. The ending of, okay, his body was like overloaded with kryptonite, and there's a ton of kryptonite on Earth. Very last panel is him with going Super Saiyan, all gold. And what does that mean? We got some more information on this second issue. And basically, he is impervious to kryptonite, but there's a time limit on it. And then if he uses it too much, then it's like the old Silver Age, like the Alan Moore, or whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, the gold kryptonite, like erasing you forever. You can never have your powers, not erasing you from existence, but you can't have powers anymore. And this feels like an homage to that. And also, like the Mark Waid, I feel like Dan Slott's run is going to embrace the Silver Aginess, the silliness of this world and of Superman. I heard him on a podcast, talking on the Word Balloon podcast, and he was talking about some things that he has coming up, and they are silly. They are very
Good.
silly.
Good.
So I'm looking forward to what comes next. But right now, in this second issue, I really liked that giving him that limitation and having to decide when is he going to deploy it, when is he going to use the gold power. I don't think we got a specific name for that goldness yet. There's no like, all right, turn on your super gold or whatever
right.
they're going to call it. But that's what I really liked about this issue was just we're getting more about a new superpower and this new kind of status quo of, okay, the villains have kryptonite weapons. There's how does that affect all the Kryptonians around the world? And how does it affect Superman specifically having all this kryptonite? out into the world. And I also like the what's the creep? Is it Jack Ryder?
Yeah,
The
Jack Ryder, the
Creepers.
Creeper.
Yeah,
Creeper, yeah.
he's got a podcast, right? Like that. It looked like he had either a TV show or a podcast
It's usually
where
a
he was
radio
talking.
host. I don't know if I'm not sure what they were going for with this one, but he's
I
usually like
like,
a newscaster, radio host.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I feel like they almost were trying to be like not like the Joe Rogan type, but almost along those lines. And then
It was kind of giving that, yeah, a little bit.
Totally.
Yeah.
and Clark is there to be like, no, here's the real. This is the actual reporting. I'm gonna give you the actual news and not just the shock jock type of thing where it's like all about clickbait and headlines. So yeah, my pick of the month, Superman Unlimited #2. Did you both get a chance to read Superman Unlimited?
Yep.
Excellent. Super Frank, what did you think about
Crypto
it?
Knights, you guys.
Ooh, yeah.
Crypto Knights.
Crypto Night.
Silly.
Silly.
Yes. That's what I feel like. I feel like the silliness is coming out. Tangent, you've let
Yes.
the silly out. You've what are those things? The things you open up and they pop out at you. I forgot what they're
Back of
called.
the box?
No, the now it looks like a can of Pringles and you open it and it's like
Can of worms?
Like the snake in the can thing.
yes, something like that. I feel like that's what Tangent has let out. The silliness has come out, and all of the comics are embracing it. So we are having a good time in this world. Tangent, what do you think about Superman Unlimited #2?
I agree with you like really strongly in that the first issue did not do it for me, like so much so that I was like, yeah, I don't think I need to read this book. I'm good. But I'll give you one more. And I'm actually really glad I gave it one more because I will definitely give it a third now.
Yeah.
Because I enjoyed this one infinitely more. Even the art I enjoyed more on this one. And I'm with you. He's hit Raphael's a hit or miss for me, but I liked this. I liked this one. I liked the side commentary from the Creeper. I like the immense amount of Clark Kent that we're getting. This is not just a Superman story. This is a Clark Kent reporter story. And the two are tied together, but they're both sides are struggling with different things. So I'm he's doing a really good balancing act. I'm on board. It was much better for me this time around. Even Clark's like bang haircut wasn't for me. It's like the Zooey Deschanel effect. You take away the bangs, you don't know who she is.
Hey. Excellent. Man, that was a great issue. Speaking of great issues, the last week, which was very recent, June 25th, Superman #27, and then Tim Tangent's pick, Justice League Unlimited #8. Now, Tangent, I am really excited to hear about this one because we kind of started off strong with Justice League Unlimited, and then I feel like, I mean, the Superman aspect of it went down, so we weren't covering it as much. But I feel like the ending of this crossover was back up on that high. What made this your pick of the month?
So I think there's just there's some cool moments in here. As far as Superman goes, there's some pretty good Superman moments. More like just flat out classic, we're battling the Legion of Doom moments, but we technically have 3 Superman in here. We have 3 Supermen. And so I think that weirdly that was working for me. So we have regular Superman, we have some form of the past Superman, and we also have electric blue Superman. And I love electric blue Superman.
You were the first person I thought of when I saw that.
I don't even like necessarily care for the stories from the 90s. I just like the design because he's got a cool costume, So electric blue Superman battling Bizarro, and then spoiler for this, but like getting stuck in the present. I'm like, oh, I'm getting more electric blue Superman. Don't mind that in the slightest at all. But I also liked there's some decent panels, like it just like Superman really takes the lead in tackling Grodd, and like going for it. He takes the lead in talking to the displaced time people. Superman is not always the de facto leader of. He's not always the de facto leader of the Justice League, but he really falls back on it here, and that was actually really nice to see. It always sometimes it feels weird when somebody else leads the Justice League. Like Superman's here, but
Right.
Elongated Man is taking the lead today, and you're like, okay, choices have been made.
Yeah.
and and so I liked all that very much, but there was just what did it for me is there's a big explosion when like Martian Manhunter finally takes back the powers from Grodd, and Superman is shielding Robin because everybody else is an adult and able to take care of themselves and is in this situation because they're an adult and they've made that choice, but he's just a kid, and Superman goes to save the kid. They have a great Dick and Clark have an excellent relationship
Yes.
together. You know, like Clark's the one that gives him his Nightwing name,
Yes.
gives him the idea for it. So like I just really loved seeing that unspoken connection in that brief panel. And it was thought about enough that Mark Waid is like it's there, you know, because they decided to put them front and center on that page. So all that worked enough for me to say this one's my pick.
Yeah, that was amazing. And it's also very similar to the Superman trailer where he shields that girl. And that was a moment that I think sold my wife, where she was like, oh, he saved someone. Like, this Superman cares. This Superman is like who I think of as Superman. That was like, she was really surprised when she saw that. It was like, whoa, this is good. I like this. So that moment, I think, was a standout moment from this. And this is Dan Mora on the art, right?
It is, yeah. And you can tell because it's beautiful.
Yes, I like it. Really, I think we talked about this on last month's episode. It really bothers me when we can't get one artist on an entire run of something, and they have to have a fill-in artist. It was like that with Absolute Batman, where there was fill-in artists, and it was like, man, we could just no, I'm sorry, I was talking on another podcast. That's what it was. I've got too many podcasts in my mind, but specifically, Absolute Batman was one where it was like, man, I love this art from the other fill-in artist, but if we could have just kept Nick Dragotta, and that his stamp on it would have been like Ultimate Spider-Man, where it was Bagley for 100 issues, and it was like, when I think of Ultimate Spider-Man, I think of Bagley's art. And so whenever you have like fill-in artists, and I understand time and things of that nature, other things play into it, but it really, when you're reading it as a collection or you're looking back on it, that not having that consistent art throughout, to me, sometimes hurts a comic. So that's just kind of unfortunate.
I remember being a kid and reading collections of stories. Like I remember collecting like Batman No Man's Land in graphic novel form and like loving the art to start. And then it would move, like not really understanding how the collections worked or anything. Like I would move to a completely different book, right? And it would be a different artist or whatever. And I'd be like, what is happening? Like, look at that amazing art. Why am I looking at this that I don't really like that much? And now I feel like it like has diminished the quality of my reading. And as an adult, I, you know, one, understand how it works and reading for a long enough time, but two, also I understand the need for like artists to catch up, and you know, like they have to take a break, you know, and you know, all of that is totally fine. Like I completely understand that, but somebody like, I think Mark Bagley was just a fast artist. He just worked really fast. He knew he had clean lines. He wasn't extraordinarily detailed, and like he just knew how to manipulate the panels to make it work for him. And not everybody can do that. It's just you know, some of it's just practice, but I do agree with you. Sometimes a fill-in artist can hurt. I feel like you almost want to give a book like an arc or two, maybe three, before the fill-in artist comes in, so like you're really entrenched in the style, and then you get a break, and then it moves on. But hey, I don't do this for a living.
Yeah.
Yes. Super Frank, I want to ask you something. This is a question that I've been wanting to ask you and Tangent for months, and we just haven't had time. But today we have time, so I want to ask you. So, in the time that you kind of stepped away from comics and came back, they started, the rise of the phone and
Mhm.
having things on your phone, apps. The Infinite Scroll comic started. So Marvel has this and they call it their Infinity Comics, which actually the Infinity Comics started, I don't know if you remember this, like motion comics. Not so they also had motion comics where you would watch them like on a TV,
Mhm.
but these ones were when you swiped, they had specific actions that like animated the characters to do things. So they took that and they kept the name Infinity, and now it's just you infinitely scroll it. DC's is called DC Go.
Mhm.
Have you had a chance to look at any of these types of comics on your phone since you came back?
I haven't read them that way. I haven't. I've seen what the experience looks like, but I haven't read them that way myself. I've never been one for like motion comics of either kind. I don't know why. I call me old fashioned and boring, I guess is why. Like I haven't I really should check it out because I do want to play around with it a bit, but like yeah, no, to answer your question, no, I haven't.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe next month is going to be, well, we're going to be talking about the Superman movie, but
Right.
if you have time in this next month, check out one of those formats. Now, Tim Tangent, I know you have dabbled in some scrolly comics. What do you think about, is this a good format for this generation because people are growing up on their phones and vertically scrolling instead
Okay.
of horizontally?
So if I answer the question that way, like, is it a good format for people who are like growing up with scrolling and moving through? I'd say probably. Like, that's actually not terrible when you say it like that. I personally don't like scrolling comics because I feel like I'm always like, it's almost like having, remember when you were a kid and you need to have like a ruler to read the line or whatever, and then you have to move to the next line to like teach you how to stay on the line or whatever. It kind of feels like that where I'm spoiling the panel by like getting a little bit of it at a time, or like maybe I slide too much, like I scroll too fast, and then I get another panel, and it's not consistent enough for me. And I think comics are so naturally like a left to right
Mm,
medium. I
yes.
just don't love it. So I'm scrolling through one right now. I have one open. I have a DC Go one, and I'm looking at like Poison Ivy comes up, and it's her word bubble, and then but she's in the whole panel, but I can't actually get her in the whole panel because like the panel's too big. So even at full screen, I'm looking at a medium shot of Poison Ivy, and I scroll down, and then I'm looking at the reverse medium shot where it's like her feet up to her belly button.
Mm.
I'm like,
Mm,
but why is that the one? Like, I can't see the whole thing,
right.
and
What
I don't like it.
what
This is Harley Quinn in Paradise. I was just scrolling the website, and it was one that was like, yeah, you can read this one. You're not
okay.
logged in, so I said, okay.
That actually brought up a good point. I should have left this in my notes. There is two different kinds of these comics. One
Mm.
is like that, the one where it took a already released comic and just put it into this format. And they have a ton of these, like All-Star Superman is. It's actually kind of annoying on the DC app because there are two different versions of the same comic. One will be the regular horizontal scrolling, one will be the vertical scrolling one. And they both come up. Like if I've read the horizontal one, then the vertical one would come up. And I'm like, I already read that. I don't need you to tell me to read the other one.
Hmm.
So I don't like that. That's just their DC, the way DC organizes it. But that brings up a good point because they do have another type of comic where it's made specifically for the vertical scroll. So they're not cutting the panels out
Mm.
specifically. They're it's designed from the ground floor for these types. That is the type that I like. Marvel is actually way ahead of DC on this. They've been doing it longer and they have way more titles. There was one that the comedian Scott Ackerman, who does Comedy Bang Bang,
Hmm.
he wrote a Spider-Man story and it's coming out in that format. And there's a Marvel Rivals is a video game. There's a Marvel Rivals comic that's coming out in that format. And those are the ones that I'm like, okay, I will take the time to read those. I don't like the ones that were already formatted for a comic, turning it into a vertical. Because, like Tangent said, I don't like that it doesn't feel like it cuts in the right places and it doesn't feel like you're getting the full, feels like something's being cut off. And the ones that are made for scrolling, it's like, no, there's nothing being cut off because it's made for the vertical.
It's made for that aspect ratio.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm looking at a Spider-Man one right now, and it's
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
made for this aspect ratio, because, and you can always tell because like the bubble will appear to lead you to the next one,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
the monologue or the narration boxes are in a particular way. But even then, I'm not like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because this is not how I grew up reading them. It could just easily be as that. But I've tried non-Marvel and DC ones, and it just, it's just not for me. I don't mind the, say, panel to panel reading, like the guided view reading that you can
I do
do
like
on
that.
some
Yes.
devices. That doesn't bother me the same way, even though it is basically the same thing.
Well, but the difference is you can scroll, you can pinch to
It'll show the
zoom
full.
out and see the full picture, right? Like it's not like, because I agree that like when they're deciding how to slice it for you in that vertical view, it's like it's kind of like watching a 4:3 VHS of a 16:9 movie, right? Like
yes, right.
Yeah.
They used to call like the pan and scan. Yeah. Man, that actually brings up another point of the guided view. I'm kind of 50-50 on guided view because I think it is a good option for someone.
It's good for your phone.
Yeah, definitely good for your phone, because I don't like reading stuff on my phone screen. Even though I have the largest iPhone screen, and I'm still like, this is too small. I can't see what's going on.
Get some glasses, you old man.
That's not it. That's not it. I also have the largest possible iPad, so maybe there is something wrong with my eyesight. But I think the guided view is good for people who are not accustomed to the reading order of comics, because that was actually when I first met my wife. She was very much into the guided view because she was like, oh, okay, it's telling me where I'm supposed to read next, versus we're so used to like, all right, left to right, top to bottom. For someone who's newer to it, I think the guided view is really cool because you're getting the intended version. Like, it's not like cutting off things. It's like, okay, this is the panel. This is what they want you to look at, versus this is just what's going to fit on a vertical screen. So I do like that over the turning something already made into a vertical. I like the guided view better. So yeah, that is interesting.
My preferred method is to read the whole page and pinch and zoom on something that I want to look at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
That's my fave. Because that beats even the holding the physical and just going, huh,
yeah.
like it's not really the same.
It does feel a little bit more like I don't feel like I'm losing as much quality or when I'm zooming into it versus looking on a physical page.
It feels like everything I loved about everything I still and I have always loved about physical comics, but better because I can look at it more closely, more easily, right? Like it
that's a huge one for me. And then having the backlit screen for me, especially at night, is like, I think it just enhances the reading experience versus shining light on a page and then bouncing it off. But maybe that's my old eyes again. Maybe Grandpa Vactor.
But I agree with you.
Okay. Excellent. My friends, we've reached the end of this month in Superman. June was a fun month. Let's give it a solar flare for Superman. And if you're into Superman, I just put out a new video today on my YouTube channel, This Comic Cooks, and it's actually talking about the weird superpowers that Superman has had. This is not every single one, because that would have been a 10-hour video if it was every weird superpower that he's ever had.
That's coming next month, but this one is good too.
Just gotta ask, you did the ones with like the little Superman out of his finger, right?
Yes.
Excellent.
That is there. Yes.
Excellent.
There's that. And then also there's he has rainbow, like he's able to shoot rainbows out of his fingers. Also, I don't know why, but you can check out my video on This Comic Cooks, the YouTube channel. And I would also love if people checked out the Beer with Geeks channel on YouTube. Super Frank, what is going on over at the Beer with Geeks channel?
We are wrapping up our epic slog through 252 characters in the DC universe.
An epic slog. What is this, a James Cameron movie? No.
Yes, but yeah, check that out. If you we've been ranking them in a giant tier list, and we are finally coming to the end of it. So check out the epic conclusion to that sub series on Beer with Geeks.
Yes, man, I am loving that series because I love the geeks. The Beer with Geeks always are a good time, no matter what the topic. the geeks always have a fun time, a fun take, and a fun tangent. So always check out Beer with Geeks, whether it's in audio, whether it's in video, no matter the format, you are gonna get some value out of your time with Beer with Geeks. So thank you very much for joining me, Tim Tangent, Super Frank. I've got my fingers crossed and my fortress of expectations on lockdown right now, because the next time we talk to you, we will all have seen Superman.
This is
The
how we're
James
gonna
Gunn
do it.
Superman.
If you loved it, wear Superman gear. If you didn't like it,
Oh man,
don't wear the gear.
man, dang. I
That's
might,
the visual
yeah.
cue.
That, you know what? I think we will do that. I think we will. But this was an excellent time, my friends. Like I said, June brought the heat, especially over here in Arizona. It's 115 degrees. But we loved this month in Superman. We hope you did as well. If you had a favorite issue or a favorite moment, a favorite panel from this month, let us know in the comments down below. And don't forget, next month, again, I gotta say it again, we are talking about the new Superman movie next month here.
Next week.
Next
I can't
week.
believe it.
Month.
I
We're
can't
in the
believe it.
month next week.